Hey everyone, so I was going to do another Warcraft daily for today, but there's only one bit of news. That said, it's a bit of news that's definitely worthy of discussion, and that is the fact that they're actually opening up a free, free faction transfer. Now, currently this is only going to be rolling out on an American server, so we're going to have to wait a little bit of time until this is fully stretched out. Though they're doing this to solve a problem. By the way, the server is Berthelius or something like that. So the way it works is, I think from, 1 week beginning on Tuesday the 27th of May, and if you're a guild leader, then you can just purchase the guild transfer, but then they will immediately, well not immediately, but at some point afterwards they'll refund it for you. Now this is a Horde to Alliance change, and as well as announcing this, they also talked a little bit about the actual intent and the reason why they're doing this. And that is because Battleground queue times are a little bit of a problem. Now, I don't know what it's like exactly from first-hand experience because I play on the Alliance, and on the Alliance side, we get very fast Battleground queues. The reason for that is that there are less people who play PvP on the Alliance side, so we are in high demand, so if you're an Alliance person, you queue up, well, there'll probably be a space already waiting for you. That's a little bit of a problem if you're a Horde player, though, because you're not in demand. There's a large supply of Horde PvPers, and it's just, there's problems getting the Alliance players to match them up with. So by allowing Horde people to transfer over to Alliance on this server, it means that PvP players will be transferring over to the faction which needs more PvP players, and hopefully this is just going to be a method of balancing things out. It's not going to have that big of an effect initially, though. This is only going on one server. One server. So it's going to be a drop in the ocean, But it definitely speaks to a sort of a wider a wider solution coming. They said that this first server is just a little bit of a test, so they'll test that. Hopefully it will work out, because I don't see any reason why it wouldn't work out, and then we'll see this roll out a little bit more. The question is, though, is it going to be like a free faction, or a free realm transfer, where they only really happen from time to time on select realms, or is this going to be something that is a little bit more widespread, but of course just on certain PvP realms? Because if they're going to fix this problem, they're going to need to offer a lot of faction transfers. I think they should just go to a lot of the large and imbalanced PvP servers and just get cracking, and let a lot of people do it for free. Will this lose them money? Well, I mean, it's a lost sale of a faction transfer, in terms of potential, but I don't think that many people on a Horde majority server would consider swapping over to Alliance, really within their own server, because usually in those servers it's like 90% Horde, 10% Alliance, and the experience isn't that great. That also brings me on to another topic. Right, the carrot is that it's a free transfer, but is it going to, just turn into a good experience for those players? I mean, sure, you're going to get a faster queue. That is the one big benefit. If you're a Horde person who is really pissed off at queues at the minute, and you transfer over to the Alliance, well, you could be on a faction that doesn't have a lot of players on it on that server, but you will get faster queues. So there's a bit of a trade-off there, and I suppose the question is it worth it? Is getting those fast queues actually worth not being on the higher population faction for your server? I think especially moving into Warlords and, with the Time Asylum and all that kind of content, and especially because in Warlords you'll be stuck in the ground. If you are on the other faction on a server with a big sort of imbalance problem, it could hurt. You could get ganked a lot, and there could be a variety of problems like that. I'm not too sure how it's going to work out, really. It's funny, just in general, when I see even server transfers, they're always from a high pop server to a low pop server. Now, the thing is, why would you want to go to a low pop server? I mean, unless you really want to farm rares or something, I don't see much of a reason. Because it just is a worse experience. I know right now, if I could move to a high pop server, I would take all 10 characters with me. Because sure, it's nice being able to get Cruel the Blade every once in a while and, get a chance of that rare elixir, but I think I'd give up the sort of rare mob benefits for just being on a more lively and fun server. I'm not 100% sure really how this is all going to pan out, but I think it's a very cool thing, and it's giving players a choice, and it's giving them a choice for free. Frankly, I think that the cost for faction transfer is a little bit too high at the minute. Maybe they should half it, or maybe 60% off as a permanent price. PvP's interesting, and in Warlords, they really are going to just need to ensure that things are robust. Ashran is going to be coalescing a whole bunch of servers together, which is a great thing, but you've got to remember, these battleground queues are, like, they're throughout an entire region. And that's another thing Blizzard said, by the way. The main aim here is for regional balance, not just on a single server. But in Warlords, because the way regional balance is for PvP, are there not going to be problems with Ashran? This is just a hypothetical question, but if you have, let's just say, 2 million PvPers and, well, 2 million Alliance PvPers and 4 million Horde PvPers in a region, okay, that's probably too high, but you get my drift. Because I think it really could be a crazy ratio like that in terms of Horde to Alliance PvPers. Is there just not going to be a bit of a problem with Ashran? I'm not, you know, weirdness. I'm not 100% sure, but it's definitely a concern, and perhaps that's why Blizzard are taking this little bit of downtime to try and solve the problem. I suppose that once a lot of people also get their level 90 boost, maybe some of them will be okay with the idea of making it on a new faction to try out something different. That could happen, and I think overall, if they put enough little nudges and little systems and free things in, then sure, the faction balance situation at the minute should fix itself. But I know that, like, I've heard people say that, you know, a battleground queue is taking 10 minutes for them. I'm used to 30 to 50 seconds. That must hurt, you know? I think that would really hurt my kind of, I don't know, desire to go into a battleground, because for me a battleground is a piece of near instantaneous content that I want to do very quickly. I've even found that I don't mind doing a dungeon for Valor these days because I can do it on a tank and get a near instant queue, which is a very nice thing. Then, of course, in Warlords we're going to have a whole bunch of other things like the new arena scenarios, though I don't think that they'll be really affected too much by faction balance. Because, well, it's arena, there's only a few people, and it's going to be easier to find groups. It's not like you need to scrounge together, like, 2 full-size raid groups for a match of AV or something. Now, interestingly enough, I think it was Helinka a while ago said on Twitter that a lot of people had been blaming the blacklisting feature for battleground queues. Now, as it turns out, this is apparently not the case, because only about 20% of players use it, and when they do use it, it doesn't particularly affect the queue times that badly, so I think that it is overall just a faction balance problem. And yeah, hopefully they'll go and fix that. Just roll this out to as many PvP servers as possible. I think it's obviously the priority is the PvP servers because, well, most of the big PvP servers are Horde ones when you get down to it, at least from the stats that I've seen. But hey, roll it out to a few PvE servers as well. They just need to make sure that they strike the right balance between throwing this freebie out and then actually charging for the service. Of course, personally, I'd love this to be cheaper. I think there absolutely needs to be either a long cooldown or a barrier to entry for a service like this. In fact, I'd be okay with the idea of completely foregoing fees for some of these things and just putting a queue time on it, or maybe halving the fee and putting on a longer time, not a queue time, pardon, just a cooldown. So, you know, currently Blizzard say the reason they don't want you, or they put a cost on faction transfers is because they don't want you to switch faction every Sunday or every Monday or Tuesday or, you know, whatever day of the week you want. You're your own person, you can choose. They don't want you doing that because it screws up servers and balances and communities and things like that. I think that's true, and it's the right goal, but they could do it in a more consumer-friendly way than charging people. And if they really want to make this free thingy have an influence, they're going to need to roll out to a lot of servers. So, yeah, hey, there's a bit of a rambly thing about that. Let me know what you think. I don't think this is really something that people could see much ill in. It's pretty much purely for the good of the game, so hurrah! And with that, hurrah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.